How do you do?
Tired.
Tired. It's that time of the month again.
I've just been dragged out of my pit to come and speak shit,
pit.
basically.
It is a pit, guys.
Well, yeah, my partner has broken her leg, so I'm without housemaid at the moment.
Does she listen to these?
No.
You
Thank
fucking
God.
hope not. Nah. I'm going to play her this now. You fucking wait, lad.
So I've just been woken up.
Yeah.
He's been up for several hours.
I've been up for nearly 12 hours already. I was up at 6 o'clock this morning because I had to take Mrs. to work.
I was up at 6 o'clock this morning. You know, I just finished the night shift.
I was going to say, you were rolling in from work, were you?
I didn't get to sleep till about 9:30.
Oh.
But no, we're gonna have some fun today. I think we'll start off with the films as we normally do, but we are gonna recap on a couple of games.
Yep.
Talk about what's coming out in gaming land, which isn't a lot this month, guys.
No, it really isn't.
But yeah, so we've got the same format as usual, basically, guys. At the end of the day,
you should know by now.
You know, a couple of films,
couple of
games, and some crap at the Metro, and that's where we like to keep it. I don't think we're going to change this format for a long time.
Not for this anyway. Like we said, might be some other things
we
might
do some other podcasting.
We still need to sort out a live stream at some point.
Yeah, we've got a live stream to come out as well. But yeah, we'll jump straight into filming.
Yeah.
Because we know that we keep taking 2 or 3 hours of your time at the moment, rather than just the hour. But yeah, so we'll start with films. Now, in filming land, there's not a lot coming out this month again. There's a documentary coming out on the 1st of March. I think it was the 1st. Was it the 1st? Yeah, March the 1st. Called Apollo 11. That's an in-depth documentary regarding the moon landing. There'll be Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, all of them talking. So if you're interested by the moon landing, it's an interesting thing to watch.
I mean, I've been watching a bit of a show, and it's a bit like Porn Stars, but it's all the moon. It's not all the moon. It's all space.
Yeah.
McGuff. And it's cool, but it's not my.
I mean, to be fair, I think
my greatest love.
I think that because Apollo 11 is such an iconic moment in history, from the launch, which was a success, to the actual landing of the moon, and so on. It's one of those things. You're either interested or you're not.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm at the moment heavily into documentaries. That's pretty much all I'm watching at the moment is documentary after documentary.
Yeah.
So it might be something that while I'm at work I stick on to have a listen to.
I mean,
because I treat a lot of documentaries like podcasts.
Yeah, you just stick them on.
You can just listen to a lot.
Yeah, I mean, on this thing I watched, I think it was Apollo 9. This woman spent $25,000 on the flight plan, and she ended up making something like $100 and something thousand, and it was like, you what? For the flight plan.
Yeah.
It was mental. So moving on away from... not
really.
Moving on away from space, but I'm wrong.
So then on the 8th of March, we've got the next Marvel film, Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
Brie Larson is going to be coming into this as one of the most powerful people in the Marvel universe.
Yeah. I mean, she is. Fair.
Of course. Now, this is an origin story of Captain Marvel, so this isn't going to tell you anything about Avengers Endgame. It'll probably...
My guess is either
the end scene or they'll wait until the credit scenes to show you her buzzer going off and it coming from...
She looks down and goes,
okay,
time to get going.
Earth's in trouble, and that's Fury calling. This is set in the 80s?
I believe 70s or 80s.
70s or 80s.
That
means this is going to be another Marvel film with an amazing soundtrack, like Guardians. And you know it is because they can't set a film in the 80s without it having an amazing soundtrack.
You also, in this, we are getting a slight origin for Nick Fury as well. We get the younger Samuel L. Jackson. And
before he became director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
He's just an agent at this point.
Yeah, and it does look as though we are. He has both eyes in the trailer, so I would say odds are we're going to figure out how
he loses
loses the eye, and I've just mucked my glasses up. Fucking hell!
But no, I mean, as we know, Captain Marvel is beyond powerful. She is ridiculous in the amount of power that she has. Unsure how they're going to bring that to the screen. They might not show us her full potential, because we know that with like Guardians, for instance, we've only just touched upon the potential of Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Thor, it's taken 3 films to get
Hulk,
there.
We've not even scratched the surface of what he can do.
I mean, Hulk is... But I don't see them doing another Hulk film.
No, I don't. I think Hulk is going to remain
I think, as much as I'd like...
fiddle.
As much as I'd like to see as much as I'd like to see a Hulk film, Hulk is one of those heroes that works better when he's with another person.
Yeah.
So when it was Thor Ragnarok was for me Hulk's best movie.
Yeah.
And you could say it was a Thor and Hulk movie.
Yeah. No, I personally would have retitled the movie if you want the honest truth.
I mean, obviously, I think they kept it as Thor Ragnarok because it was mainly about Thor and obviously Ragnarok happening, but it is Thor and Hulk.
I think you could have gotten away with calling it Thor. I think you could have honestly gotten away with doing, literally calling it, I don't know, Thor v Hulk, and still having enough hype around it.
But then they could have, then everyone would have gone, oh, it's going to be another fucking Batman versus Superman, it's going to be crap.
I mean, that may be why they didn't call it that.
Yeah, it could be that.
You know, maybe that was a working title at one point, and then they saw Batman v Superman and went, no!
No, let's move that.
What are we calling it, guys?
I mean, I think Captain Marvel should be a good film.
She's fighting the Skrull.
It'd be interesting to see Brie Larson in this film, because it's another film once again, and we've been going on about this for the last few months now. Strong female leads, and you know, I think Brie Larson has the potential to be a really strong female lead in this film, and I think that it's going to be an interesting one to watch.
You want to know what I'm getting sick of with her though? Everyone's, because of Black Widow being very voluptuous.
Yes.
You know, Scarlett Johansson is a very beautiful woman and quite voluptuous.
And yeah, even in real life, she's quite easy.
People are knocking that Brie Larson doesn't have that, and I'm stood there going,
Brie Larson's a whole different kettle of fish.
She's an ex-RAF pilot.
Yeah, she's ex-military.
So the Scarlet Witch? No. Black Widow would have never gotten the opportunity to do that because she is voluptuous, and they would have said, no, I'm sorry, your assets are
and also
not
she had to be beaten and tortured to take orders by the fucking Red Room.
Yeah, and she's not meant to be the sex symbol. She's just meant to be fucking powerful.
Carol Danvers is a sex symbol in her own right.
Yeah,
Captain Marvel is a sex symbol in her own right.
Don't get me wrong, I think she's fucking hot, but I'm sick of people saying,
she's not,
why didn't they cast?
She is a military woman, so everything in her mindset is military. Yeah. She ain't got time for shit. I can't wait until, when they do reset the timelines, because we know it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, it's got...
when they do reset the timelines, I can't wait for Captain Marvel and Star-Lord to be about with each other.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be flirting. And with fucking Tony Stark as well. There's going to be a lot of shit going on. And I've got it in my head. Tony's going to make some sort of like semi-sexist type, as he normally does.
Bang!
And Brie's just going to look at him like, the fuck are you talking to? And this is what I'm waiting for. And
she is hot, but stop demanding that she be...
But... in the same respect, I'm actually really glad that they're doing this in the
Hollywood sexy.
But I mean, I'm glad that they're doing it this way round in terms of timeline, because they could have literally gone, right, what we'll do then is we'll get Avengers Endgame out. People can meet Larson, and whatnot. We can get Carol Danvers in it, and we can get Captain Marvel winning the day, and then do her origin story.
Yeah, no, I'm
happier that they're doing it this way, because
but that's what
realistically,
they did with...
Captain Marvel, although well known in the comic book world, isn't probably as well known as your Thors, your Spider-Mans, your Hulks, your Iron Mans.
Certainly not.
So, and I think that's why they had to do it this way.
I think they've also done it this way because it does play off the other characters as well.
Yeah.
we had the origin films before the Avengers films, which was a good thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really good film. I think it's going to set us up solidly for Endgame.
Yeah.
And Endgame, by the way, guys, don't worry, is something we will definitely talk about.
Endgame's probably going to be its own special after we've been to watch it.
Yeah.
To be fair,
it's gonna take a good chunk of one.
I mean, to be fair, this year once again is going to be very Marvel heavy.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about in the Marvel universe. There's a few Marvel films out this year.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be one of those things that we're going to keep touching on and keep talking about. So if you don't want to listen to it, sorry. We do. We want to talk about it.
And that's what we've been given.
Another film we've got coming out on the 15th of March. This is one called Wonder Park. You might not have heard about it. It's going to be a kids' film, I believe.
It is one for your kids again.
Now, this is the idea that this little girl has wandered off into the woods sort of thing and finds this amusement park.
It's not a Goosebumps story.
This amusement park is magic, basically. And basically, she runs this park with all these magical animals. It looks interesting. It does look like it's going to be one of those feel-good family films, something to watch with the kids. Or when you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, stoned off your trolley and you've got no else to do. But no, I think it's going to be one of those. It could be one of the better animations of the year.
Yeah,
basically is what I'm going to say. There's not a lot, like I said, there's not a lot coming out this month. There is a few things, but it depends on.
It's your taste.
If it's your taste, and unfortunately, in terms of our taste,
we're a bit niche.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Yeah. There was one more. Where's it gone?
Dumbo. So
on this 29th of March.
This is Tim Burton's adaptation.
Disney are carrying on their thing of we need to take all our classic animation and make it live action.
And to be fair, they're doing really well with that.
I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying they're carrying it on.
This one is a Tim Burton. This is one that they've handed off to Tim Burton. You can see why they would have handed this on to Tim Burton. It can be. Dumbo is a relatively darkish story.
It's dark in comparison to what the perception of Disney is, certainly.
But no, I think it's going to be another good Disney live action. There's not a lot more you can say about it because we all know the Dumbo story. They've got themselves a solid cast: Danny DeVito, Michael Keaton, Colin Farrell, Eva Green. Solid director Tim Burton. It's Disney. It's going to be another Disney at its best. And I'm going to take the risk there and say that because I'm a real big fan at the moment of these Disney live action. I think they've done really well with it.
They have.
They could have made them overly cheesy, but they haven't. They could have basically done a word for word copy of the animation, and they haven't. I like the fact that with these live animations, they give you a bit more of a backstory into the characters, which is fantastic. I think
that's from the thing of when they did the animation versions, they were definitely gearing it towards kids who do not care about backstory. They want things happening.
And now, I would say there's something in all of these live actions for every age of a family.
They've appealed to the kids by keeping it quite a large
you've
majority
got that
of action.
that more darker adult theme running
underneath,
running as an undercurrent through it, which is fantastic. Which all kids' films have got because they need to make them
for the most part. Yeah,
they need to make them relevant to adults because they know adults are going to end up having to watch them.
Well, they have to, don't you?
But at the same time, there's a lot in there.
And I also think the backstory appeals to the older people of going, well, I know Dumbo, but what's this backstory?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the best live action Disney adaptation is Maleficent.
Yeah, no, that was a very good one.
I think that because of we all know Sleeping Beauty, and I think this
bitch falls asleep for a damn ass long time, gets a snog and wakes up.
But because they've done it from the perspective of Maleficent rather than the perspective of Aurora and the Kingdom, it gives you a whole different depth as to why she's such a bitch.
You know what?
And I'm not being funny. When you
now rewatch, blame her.
No, that's it. That's exactly what I was about to say. When you actually watch the film and then you then go back and watch Sleeping Beauty, you're like, fucking yeah, mate, fucking right.
Do you want to know why I liked Maleficent myself? You know that thing, history's written by the victors?
Yeah.
That doesn't apply to Maleficent.
No. No, not at all. But they also show you a side of Maleficent that you wouldn't expect. The fact that she actually falls in love with this young girl, and she cares about her. And I think that's a lovely way of telling this, retelling the story. And that's why I say Maleficent was fantastic. Jungle Book was another one that they did really, really well with. Dumbo, I think, like I say, I'm going to go out on the limb, but I'd say it's going to be another good live action Disney.
Just before we end films, staying on the topic of live action Disney, have you seen the pictures released and the trailers released for the upcoming live action Aladdin?
Yes,
what I'm referring to is Blueface Will Smith.
Yes.
What? Now, this has been slated all over the internet, people saying he looks crap and blah, 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 blah.
This is what I'm going to say.
What is your opinion on it?
People, you will get what you asked for. You all fucking pissed and moaned when Will Smith was just going to be Will Smith in a genie outfit in the original movie posters, and that's what they were going to do. And everyone was like, but the genie is blue. The genie is blue. No, it's not the fucking genie because the genie is blue. So Disney went, okay then, we'll make him blue. They made him blue now. Everyone's pissing and moaning. He's fucking blue. He's this, he's that. Don't fucking bitch and moan about something you were bitching and moaning about in the first place. At the end of the day, yes, the genie is blue, but would it have made much difference at all if it had been black? Absolutely not.
Would it have made any difference if it had been black, blue, green, white, red, yellow, or fucking
exactly.
polka dot?
But now because everyone's moaned about the fact that he wasn't blue, and now they've changed him blue, and because
that's why they give these early teasers, because they're not idiots. They have people monitoring social media and go, right, what are people complaining about? Well, they're not really complaining about Abu or Aladdin. They're moaning Will Smith isn't blue, and they go, Mr. Smith, how much to paint you blue?
So they sorted it out, but I get the fact that it's almost like what they did is they took the face mask from when he got the allergic reaction in Hitch.
Yeah.
And put it back on his face and then painted him blue. I get the fact that he looks a bit weird, right? But you asked for this, people. You said, I want the genie blue. And Disney went, okay.
You know another thing.
Because the one thing Disney do is listen to the people that are going to pay for their films.
Their trillions each year.
So,
do you want to know another thing that gets me? Lots of people have been saying that if Robin Williams was still alive, he would have been cast as Genie. Now,
no, he would not. No, he would not.
Thank you. Now, I've got to say that. I don't think he would either.
No, I think he would have passed on the project saying he's done the Genie before. He
did it in the first and the third. He didn't do the second, did he?
I don't think the Genie... I don't think we would have seen Rob... He's too old.
Even if
he would
they'd
have been
done,
too old
even if they'd have done all that Hollywood editing and prosthetics and all the rest, I don't think he'd have... The most I could have seen him doing would have been the voice. You know, like they did in... remember that live-action anime that came out a little while ago? Death Note?
Yeah.
They had one actor play it. You know the demon guy?
Yeah.
They had him play it, one person playing the body, but then they had, what's his name from Spider-Man? The Green Goblin. You know what I mean?
I know you're on about, yeah.
They had him doing the voice.
Right.
I think that's the only thing. If Robbie, I think that's the only thing.
I think
they
the
could
only
have got
issue
him
with
to
that
do.
is that then they would have potentially had to animate the Genie. Because how many actors do you know that are going to willingly sign up for a contract where their entire body is there and then they have to lip sync the whole film?
Either an up and comer or a complete unknown, or it would have been out. Even for Disney, it would have been too much money.
So
I think again, you could probably pay Will Smith enough movie to play in a movie where he's not going to be heard and only seen. But again, I think it would be, well, Mr. Smith, here's your normal fee, here's the fee for painting you blue, and here's the next $1 billion for not using your fucking voice.
I think people need to stop bitching and moaning. I think the film will be brilliant.
And
Aladdin is one of my favourites. I can't wait to watch the music.
I think Robin Williams would enjoy the film.
Yeah.
I think if he were alive,
I think people nowadays, they like to have a bitch and a moan, and then something gets changed because of that bitch and moan, and then they're like, right, well, now I've got something new to bitch and moan about.
So yeah, that I had to while we were still on the live action.
But no, I
Disney.
mean, to be fair, I think when Aladdin does come out, it'll be a good film. I don't think it matters what colour fucking Will Smith would have been, or the Genie for that matter. I get that the anime he was blue, and I get that they would have wanted him to represent that. That's fine, but I don't know. I think people have just bitched and moaned,
Do you
and now
know
they're going to bitch and moan
one thing
again.
I'd actually like to see with this up and coming. You know how in the original story and in a lot of the plays, there's the blue genie, the genie of the lamp.
Yeah.
But then at the end, he finds the genie of the ring, who isn't as powerful, and he grants one wish. I would personally, and I don't think this is going to happen, like to see that in the live-action remake. I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
But personally, I'd like to see it where Jafar throws him back in the Cave of Wonders. With, Jafar has Will Smith genie, but then Aladdin finds the genie of the ring, gets out, and saves the day. I'd like to see that because, again, these movies are generally longer than the original sources and more fleshed out.
I think we're going to see
Your phone go off?
something a little bit different with this one. I think we're going to get the main. I think we're going to end up with pretty.
We're going to
much,
get told the story of Aladdin for the umpteenth time.
but I think we're going to see it in a little bit of a different way, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. So now we're going to move on to games.
We're going to move on to games. Before we start the new release games, we're going to do a little recap sesh. I'm going to be.
Do you want to start with yours?
Yeah, I'm going to chat about Resi 2.
I have yet to play this, guys, but here's the thing.
Now I'm on.
I care not for spoilers, neither does he. So here is your spoiler warning. There may be spoilers.
There probably
There
will
may
be
be
spoilers.
people choking outside your space, but that's another story. So
We're going
here
to
we
try
go.
and set a time limit of 5 minutes each,
Yeah.
maximum. It's luckily
I think it's doable.
it should be doable.
Both are pretty short games, aren't they? Well,
Yeah, I mean, Resi 2, each playthrough will take. To be fair, my first playthrough took me about 5.5 hours, right? Which is, from what I've seen, quite long.
is that was that just the Leon run?
Just the Leon run through the first time round.
Okay, yeah.
And that's obviously because, I do, use walkthroughs here and there to help me complete some puzzles and whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of us do. I mean, it's so easy to do nowadays.
Yeah, because all the game reviewers get advanced copies, so they know and can release this information.
Yeah. So
Why don't you start? Give us a rundown of basically what you do.
okay, so obviously you start off either as Leon or Claire. The very first part of if you play run through 1 with either character, you're going to end up with a very similar run through up until just past the first time you get out of the police station. And the reason for that is that Leon meets
Claire,
Ava Wong and
Ada Wong.
and Claire meets Sherry.
That's
so
it. We've lost all the Resident Evil fanboys now.
I don't
right?
care. So look, I've got a shit memory, so I don't really give a shit. So obviously because of that, they each have their own separate run through stories. Each they've got their own stories basically. So if you play as Leon or Claire, when you first start the game, you're going to pull up into a petrol station.
Okay.
Everything's already. It's just outside the Raccoon City. Everything is already dead, pretty much. You're going to try and fill up the car. Nothing's going to happen. You're then going to walk into the petrol station. You're going to find a dude that's been bitten, and he points to a door. Right, all very anonymous. He doesn't say anything. Just bleeding out. You then going to go into a dark corridor. And you're going to see a dude tackling with a zombie. He's then going to get overpowered and eaten, and that's when you start really playing the game. Once you're out of the station, you meet Leon or Claire, respectively, and then you end up with a lovely cutscene of them driving into Raccoon City, near the police station. Well, not too far away from the police station, when they're going to get surrounded by a horde and then knocked out by an 18-wheeler that's being killed. All very Resident Evil. The police station is fantastic. The layout is really, really good. The graphics are stunning.
I mean, I played the demo. I'll agree with you on the graphics and the police station.
Do you know what? I've played every Resident Evil game, right? From Resi 1 to this Resi, right? That's all the numbered Resis, not all of the... I've played Code Veronica X,
But you've not played.
I've not played every single spin-off. That would be, I think, almost impossible.
Well, a couple of them you can't even get anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
You?
So I've played a lot of Resident Evil games. When they started going to the pair-up system from Resi 4, and then they made a whole game about that in Resi 5
and
6, and obviously there was the more arcadey feel to Resi, and I think, was it Resi 6? Resi 6 had more of an arcade style gameplay for me. I started to lose interest, I'm not going to lie. I like the original Resi games. I like the puzzle style games. Resi 7 came out, and that
brought it back
to a degree. Obviously it was first person now, but there was that lovely element of the original Resi games, looking for puzzles, trying to solve them, and that was good. I enjoyed that. Resi 2 for me is possibly the best Resident Evil game to come out since Resi 3. This is obviously, I know it's a remake, but even so, because there's enough changed with like added extra bits that wouldn't have been in the first cut through, that makes the game brilliant. And I've just lost my 5 minutes.
Keep going. I'm curious.
The game is...
Trust me, Kingdom Hearts 3 I can shorten to a couple of sentences.
The game is really, really good. There's a lot of jump scares in there. There's a lot of moments where you know something's coming, and you'll still get shitted up when it happens.
Something's coming.
Yeah, basically, like, for me, one of the scariest bits, you're down in the parking lot, okay?
Is this the police station?
This is in the police station, yeah. When you first go through you have to go through the dog kennels to get to the morgue, to get the diamond key, okay? On either character's first playthrough. I think it's also the same in the second playthrough as well, the same place. So you're going through the kennels. Dogs are already locked up in cages, but you can see that there's a few busted up cages. And so you shoot the dogs in the cages, of course you do, because you're like, I ain't letting them fuckers get out. Boom, boom, boom. You kill all these dogs and you're like, right, okay, I'm fine. Go through the morgue, you get a little jump scare. It's not really a jump scare. You pull out the gurney table, the body falls off, wakes up, you shoot it, he dies, you get the key. Another body wakes up by the door, you shoot it, he dies, you
carry on.
You carry on.
Your day, yeah.
And then you enter the fucking kennels, and then fucking dogs start running out from underneath walls, and you're like, shit. The two worst enemies in the game are dogs and lickers. Everyone will say, well, no, because, you know, Mr. X and whatever else, they are, you know, really, but, you know, and tyrant. They are, because they will chase you down, and you have to put them down, and then they'll get back up, whatever. But lickers and dogs are really, really hard.
I heard the dogs were quite bad.
See, the dogs are bad because they're fast and they're small, and the aiming mechanic can be, although it's nice and smooth, it can be, when you're trying to fucking quickly get to a dog, quite clunky. Yeah. So you find yourself trying to get your shotgun on if you've unlocked the shotgun by this point, which you should have done if you're playing the game properly. There are a few people that I'd imagine will have missed getting the shotgun because they couldn't be bothered to solve the puzzle, but whatever. The shotgun is the easiest way to kill a dog because obviously it's got a nicer spread.
Yeah.
But even then, it can feel a little bit clunky at the times when you're trying to really fucking rush to try and shoot that. Lickers, they don't... Now, in the original Resi games, the lickers will just instinctively know where you are and come after you.
Yeah.
In this game, if you're quiet, they don't have eyes. So they can't see you, but they will hear you. So if you're quiet, you can sneak past lickers. I haven't attempted this because, to be fair, when I see a licker, I just start shooting. The bigger the weapon, the easier it's going to go down. And it's only difficult with them because they'll drop and then they'll just sort of lunge at you and jump and whatnot. That can be the point when you're trying to really wish that you had like a roll button to roll out of the way, which you don't. But no, Resi 2, both playthroughs are really good. You end up with Claire, with Sherry. That can be, when you play as Sherry, that can be quite nerve-wracking because Sherry, there is no sort of health bar with Sherry because she doesn't die. She'll just get caught by the dude and then die, and then that's the end of the game because Sherry can't die. But she also doesn't have any weaponry. So hers is literally like more like horror survival. It's a short little run for Sherry, but the other is that you've been taken by the police chief, you're in the orphanage, and you've got to try and escape from him. So you break out of the room you've been locked in, you get your way down to where he is, where you find that he's killed a woman. In the new DLCs, you can play her story. So that's obviously more in depth about the game, which I like. I like the fact that they've done this. Sherry then has to nick the keys to get out of the building. He then spots her and then chases you. You then got to run, basically back to where you broke out from, but hiding at the same time. This is where it can get scary because he's got his torch, and you know if he sees you, you're fucked. And there's very, very small little hiding places where you're literally running around a box as he's walking around it. And then you try and get out of the building. You turn the key in the door. You unlock the door, and he's chained the fucker from the outside, so you can't get out. He does catch you. That's the whole point. But then your dad, who is basically it's William, who has infected himself with the G virus to make sure the Umbrella Corporation couldn't have it, which of course why not? And he has some sort of an attachment with his daughter still, and goes to protect her and kills the police chief. So Sherry's playthrough is a bit nerve-wracking. They've added with Ada Wong. She has like an electrical device scanner, which is also a hacking tool. So she can find electrical devices through the wall, like electrical points, activate them to then activate doors. There's a really nerve-wracking bit, a really good puzzle. You get locked in an incinerator with Ada Wong because you need to find the bracelet to allow you onto the monorail. And you're literally got like, I think it's 30 seconds or 60 seconds to shut down this incinerator. There's 3 junction boxes and a shit ton of wiring, and you're like, right, where's this one? You activate one, and then if you then think, if you're not looking properly, you'll go, right, click, click, click in the wall. And that's a big mistake, because what you've got to do is find the first junction box, turn it on, go over the door, then turn off one junction box, because the minute you flick the next switch, it will turn off a junction box. So if you first run through, you might get it wrong. I nearly did, and I nearly died. I literally had like 9 seconds left because I'd turned on all the switches, thinking, right, I've got to turn on all the switches, then I can then overpower each junction box. No, it don't work like that, because it turns off each fucking junction box as you go through. Can be quite nerve-wracking. But Sherry and Ada's little run-throughs are very short, which is upsetting for me. I think that they had the opportunity to flesh it out. The end game is quite scary because you have to defeat William, and he's a prick. You know, you take him down and he'll mutate. That's the way he works. And then there's, I don't know, the game all around, I think they've done really well. I knew they was going to. I think we all knew they was going to, because what we see, I think, a lot of the time from a lot of these game companies is that they go, right, well, what we need is we need a HD version. We need the HD version. That's what people want. They want the old game, but with just better graphics. No, I want everyone now to, any old game that we say we would like to see, you know, like a HD newer version, we mean do what Resi have done. Mm. Take Resident Evil 2 now as the example to anyone looking at doing HD remakes of games. You need to start from the ground up and rebuild it. Add new elements of gameplay. This is why Spyro did relatively alright, and Crash did relatively alright. They remade the games from the ground up, but I don't think there was enough new feel to the game to get it to be.
I think Crash did better because they included levels that the original developers didn't, because it was deemed. I mean, obviously,
it's done well enough that they've brought back, that they're bringing back Crash Team Racing. So, but no, I think the Resident Evil 2 now, that is the level. Yeah, that game developers now need to be. They
set a new precedent.
Yeah, they now need to be. Every single remake of any game needs to be at that sort of level, for me. And I would say that, like I've already said it, Resident Evil 2 is possibly the best Resident Evil game since Resident Evil 3, and that's the original Resident Evil 3, obviously, Nemesis. because it is really, really good. Really, really good. And I think there is places you can get the game and it's relatively cheap. Buy it. You will not be disappointed. You really will not be disappointed. There's enough game, although like I say, each run through, and you'll find as well, my first run through 5.5 hours, second run through about 3 hours, third run through, I think it was about 2 hours. You will get better because you will remember where puzzles are. But to stop you from literally completing the game in an hour, they did make sure that on the second run through, things were in different locations, which is good.
So if before the key was in, I don't know, the east side, it might be in the west
side.
Well,
the most poignant one, to get the Stars badge, which is locked in a blue jeweled box, you need to go down to the interview room first playthrough to get it. Okay, depending on who you're playing with. If you're playing as Chris, you unlock the door with the club key. You jump through the window that's already been smashed, and you get the key. If you're playing as Claire's playthrough, however, you go through the heart door, you get the box, and then a licker bursts through the fucking window and tries to take you out. Which doesn't happen on Chris's playthrough, but it does on Claire's.
Leon's second.
But on the second playthrough, it's in the shower room. So, they did move things around. But they moved things around for the second run through to make it quicker.
Yeah.
Because you stumble upon the puzzles earlier in the game, which makes it quicker for you to get through. So, all in all, if you take my gameplay times as not as gospel, but as a good standarding point, say 6 hours for first run through, go down to 4 hours, then 2 hours. I would say on my fourth playthrough, I would probably still hit the 2 hour mark.
You don't think you can get much? Maybe 145.
Maybe 140, maybe 130, depending on how much I can remember. Because I've stopped playing it because I've realised how quick I was getting through it.
You want that challenge,
and I want the challenge again. Yeah. So I've stopped playing it. I've gone to play something else for a little while, and I'll go back to Resi 2. But it is a game I'm definitely going back to because I don't think it matters how many times you can run through it because there's enough. Even though you know there's scares coming, they're still going to scare you. Like, I know that once you've put the helicopter out, you've doused the flames with the shit water puzzle that they put in. And it is a shit one because it's just run downstairs, flip a switch. The water goes over the helicopter, you go in the building, you're like, right, the helicopter's out now. I'm probably going to get a little cutscene where she's going to climb through the helicopter and the zombie pilot's going to come out or whatnot. That don't happen because you walk through the door and the tyrant grabs the fucking Mr. X grabs the helicopter, pulls it out of the way, and you're like shit, shoot. First time, that's fucking scary. Second time, it's still scary because you know it's coming, but you know he's a hard fucker to kill. So you're like, I need to make sure I've got the right gun on this time and whatever else, but you're still gonna shit yourself, and that's good. And they've added a lovely mechanic as well. You can collect wooden boards.
Are we playing Fortnite now?
So you go through the hospital, through the police station, and you can collect wooden boards, and then zombies will burst through the windows. You can then board up that window to stop the zombies coming back through. Now, I do believe there is enough wooden boards to actually board up the whole police station. I'd imagine there is an achievement for that. I haven't done it. Because I think I've got one or maybe two windows to close. I can't find the fucking boards. I'm pretty sure they're there. I just haven't located them. Or they're in an earlier part that I can't remember to get back to. Like through a door that was locked and I can't be able to go there. Because there are some puzzles in the game which I don't think you can have. I've played through the game 3 times and never completed the missing key button game in the armory. Because there's not a lot in the lockers for me to warrant doing it. There's some ammunition, but there's ammunition for, depending on what difficulty you're playing it at. I'm playing it at standard. The ammunition is enough to get through, I think. The only thing that is possibly worth getting is there's an inventory slot pack. So the way that you can increase your inventory slots is you find satchels around, and that will basically upgrade the amount of stuff you can carry. So it may be worth it for that, but for me, no, not really. Because obviously there's enough storage chests everywhere to just put shit away or discard items you don't need. Another good thing, one thing that they've added is autosave. Because obviously Resident Evil games, classically, didn't have autosave because it didn't really exist. So if you're playing on easy, which don't do, it's not worth it.
Is that where you might get that half an hour play time on the final run through?
Possibly, yeah.
Because you can just tank every hit.
Now, I'm not going to lie, I have done a playthrough with cheats, okay? And these cheats were infinite health, infinite inventory space, relatively infinite, like all the slots unlocked, infinite ammo, which is a godsend. Although once you've played the game, I think twice, first run through and second run through, you unlock a load of unlimited ammo guns in the storage chest anyway. It's a Resi game. What's talking about?
You played through with cheats.
Yeah, with cheats. So 4 times damage, which does not mean you're going to kill every zombie in one shot by any standards. Obviously, if you're using the Magnum, you will if you shoot them in the head or in the body. But if you don't use the Magnum, you're still going to pump a few bullets into them to get them down. Tyrant still takes, I think, 6 shots to put down with a Magnum. So the cheats do make it a bit easier, but not
enough.
Not enough. The only place where the cheat will become easier is if you play through on hardcore mode, because on hardcore mode it goes back to original Resident Evil settings, no autosave, ink ribbons, save at a save point. And the cheat for infinite ink ribbons, I'd imagine, is a godsend to keep saving. The more saves you do, lowers your game score at the end of the game.
Okay.
Because you're ranked on your playthrough. My first rank, I had 13 saves, because I didn't realise there was an autosave. I should have realised there was an autosave, because I should have read the options on the difficulty. But because I'd forgotten that there was an autosave, or didn't know exactly where the autosave points were, I ended up saving 13 times. My score, I think, was B or C because of that. Second run through, I saved twice, A. Third run through, I saved once, S rank. So the less saves, the better the rank. Hardcore, I don't think your game rank care. Don't worry about it. Save your ass.
Yeah, but you know there are going to be speedrunners out there who are going to do S rank, no save, 20-minute game run.
Yeah, but the issue is that with that you die. Hello, start of the game.
Yeah. But you know there are going to be people who do that.
Like, I think that's the thing with autosaves. We're so reliant on them now that you play a game where there's no autosave, and then you have to remember to save, and you don't remember to save, and then you do something really, really difficult, and it takes you 3 hours to get there, and then you die, and then you're like, shit, where did I last save? And then all of a sudden, you're like, continue game, and then it's like new game.
Is it like that meme where you're on the Game Boy and you catch Mewtwo, and then your battery dies, and you go, shit, where did I last save? And then it pops up, hi, I'm Professor Oak. Yeah. Basically,
that actually happened to me. I played Resi 3 Nemesis a couple of years ago on my PC. I forgot to save.
Oops.
And then I died. I had cheats on, because it's an old game, I don't care. I've played through it enough without cheats on the PlayStation. So I had cheats on, so I thought, well, I can't die anyway. And then I died. And I was like, I haven't saved the game. And then it was like, new game, and I was like, fuck this shit. And I turned it off. And I think that you will do that.
Yeah.
There's going to be there's going to be speedrunners out there that have attempted to do the hardcore mode and speedrun it, have died, and then have busted a fucking monitor. I can tell you now that has happened. Because you're going to get so in depth and involved in the game that then all of a sudden, boom, you're going to die. It's going to happen. And it's going to happen a lot.
So out of 10, what would you give Resi?
11.
11? It was that good?
Resi 2, for me, I think is going to be the best game of this year.
Fair enough. Well, I can guarantee... Are you done now?
Yeah.
Yeah. 20 minutes. 20.
Yeah.
So, I can guarantee that he's not wrong so far, because unfortunately Kingdom Hearts 3 was disappointing.
I knew he was going to say that.
For 17...
I knew he was going to say that, because we have actually had a chat about this prior, but yeah.
So, Okay, so let me give you a brief rundown. Kingdom Hearts 1, you are the main character, you become the chosen one because it's a JRPG and you have to. And then in arguably the next game, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, you lose your memories. So in the second game, you have to rebuild your powers again to stop another ultimate evil, blah, 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 blah. Then in the next game again, arguably, I'm skipping some things here and there for the sake of time. In Dream Drop Distance, you go through the ability to become a Keyblade Master, and you fail it, and you get taken by the evil guy, and you again lose most of your powers. So...
all pretty standard for a JRPG.
Yeah, so in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3, you are left with basic stats once again. Fair enough, I accept that as a JRPG, that's not bad stuff.
To be fair, it's pretty common in all RPG games.
That's absolutely fine. For the first 3 hours, I believe, for about the first 3 hours, you spend your time visiting Hercules World in an attempt to regain your strength and watching cutscenes. That is the first three. In the first 3 and a bit hours, there are far too many cutscenes for my liking.
So they've tried to turn it more into a cinematic.
You
type
could
game.
argue that to an extent, yes, but it speeds things along because by the end of it, you have
Hideo Kojima didn't have anything to do with Kingdom Hearts 3, did he? Because that's his MO.
That is. But anyway,
20 minutes of gameplay, 3 hours of cutscenes. Let's go, boys.
So it does help because by the end of Hercules World, you have more or less your base round of spells, which in the previous 2 games you didn't have until about your second or third world. So you start in world and then, I don't know, your next 2 Disney worlds. It would normally take you that long to build up your inventory. Maybe 5 hours in, you've done it in 3, including cutscenes. Bear in mind, I watched the cutscenes. If you skip them, my Christ, you played about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, in this game, that is where a lot of the speedrun to non-speedrun playthroughs are going to come in. They're skipping cutscenes.
Yeah, they're going to boom through
Then
cutscenes.
you basically then go through Toy Story and Tangled, gaining more abilities and stuff. Toy Story, very well done, very well written. Tangled. In Toy Story, you are basically playing a Toy Story. It could take place anytime, not in the movies. It would either have to be 1 or 2 because you don't have any of the characters from 3.
Okay.
In fact, I think it would have to take place after 1 and before 2 because 2 was the other cowboys, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so it would have to take place after 1.
Okay.
Tangled, it actually plays during the movie.
Okay.
Pretty standard for the way Kingdom Hearts works. Some of them are after the movie, some of them are during the movie. You then get a few more cutscenes, and then you play through Monsters, Inc. Again, this seems to take place after Monsters, Inc. and coincidentally Monsters University, and you're basically trying to stop Randall. Now, in each of these worlds, a member of the organisation pops up who are the main bad guy and various versions of himself. Okay? And all the worlds are pretty standard, and up to this point, you're like, yeah, it's not bad, I'm having fun. Then you hit Elsa's. By this point, you're about 15, 16 hours in. And I didn't like Frozen.
Okay.
And I don't like Frozen.
He has watched it.
I have. But I don't like it. But I don't like the Frozen world even more, and I think it could have been a fantastic world with lots of mechanics and really good inbuilt gameplay. And there is one reason I don't like it, above all else. It is the only world to incorporate the 2 songs. I'm not talking background music or the intro songs. It has Elsa singing Let It Go and the other one singing the door one.
Do you want to build a snowman?
That's the one. There are great songs in Toy Story. There are great songs in Monsters, Inc. There are great songs in Pirates of the Caribbean, which I haven't touched on yet. And there are great songs in Tangled. You either include songs for all of them or none of them. That, to me, was Disney going, oh, but Frozen's our biggest thing. You've got to put the song in. You didn't. It added nothing.
No.
All it does is make people who want to put it on YouTube tear their hair out because they've then got to cut the audio and do what I did and get pissed off. So anyway, so you play that, and then you play Pirates of the Caribbean. Then you jump into Baymax's world. During this time, you also have Riku and Mickey in the Dark World trying to get Aqua, who is from Birth by Sleep. And basically the whole thing is you as Sora are trying to get more powerful, and also you're trying to get 7 other Keyblade wielders to help you defeat the 13 bad guys. Okay? Also during this time, Lee/Axel and Kairi are training to become Keyblade wielders under Merlin. That's all fine. We then hit pretty much endgame, which pissed me off for starters. There are only, 6 worlds of Disney? Hercules, what is there?
Well, you said Hercules, Big Hero 6, Pirates of the Caribbean, Frozen,
Toy Story. And Tangled. Corona, that's the world it's called. There are 6 Disney worlds, which is half. There's normally been at least 8 worlds. So that's already less.
Yeah.
I was expecting at least 10. And there are more worlds, but they're the Disney worlds. And it's like, no, there should have been more Disney worlds.
Yeah.
So that started to piss me off then when I realized, because the final area is called the Keyblade Graveyard. We've seen it a couple of times before. We knew this is where the game was going to end. We didn't get told this. We just know it. You know that if you know anything about the games, you know it's going to end here. You basically go through, do the big fight. You fight the various forms of the main bad guy, Xemnas. Xehanort. Xemnas is from 2, ignore me. But you go through, you fight his forms. A little couple of other things happen in the meantime, but that's the black and white of it. You go through, fight his various forms. You free in the meantime, you free 2 other Keyblade wielders. When you free Aqua from the Dark World, you also end up freeing Ventus, who she's imprisoned away, and because Sora had his heart, but Aqua had his body, and Aqua was the only one who knew where it was, so you go and free him. And then during the fight with most of the organisation, you also free Terra from Birth by Sleep, who it turns out was... Did you ever play Kingdom Hearts 1?
No.
You never played it at all? Bastard. Basically, in the final fight, the first form, the guy has like a heartless bodyguard. That's actually Terra.
Okay.
So why he was helping the bad guy in the first game, I do not know, but that is Terra's heart, I guess, because hearts aren't hearts, they're more like a soul in Kingdom Hearts. So you go through, you fight the final fight, and then you get onto the bad guy, and you fight him a couple of times, and then his friend who he trained with for his whole life, and then in Birth by Sleep betrayed, basically his ghost form comes and whisks him away.
Oh, right.
Which was kind of disappointing to me. So anyway, so that's that. Right, so we'll go there. Basically, at the end of the game, by the end of the game, Kairi's heart has been taken. Kairi's gone again, at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, she's on Destiny Islands, and Sora's not. He's elsewhere. Kingdom Hearts 2, they do finally get back together, but at the end of 3, they're apart again. So with Kingdom Hearts 3, there was also a thing that was set up in another game where they're looking for a black box from the first set of Keyblade wielders. Right. From the Master of Masters, he basically said, I'm going away, you guys, each individual has a job to do, and then one of them, he says, take my Keyblade, take this box, fuck off.
Yeah.
And watch time for me. And he does. And you realise it's a guy we've had since the second game, who's changed his body multiple times so he can stay alive. The actual job he was given was pass this down through the generations. No, he's just changed his body a few times and stayed alive.
Yeah.
That whole back plot of the box is never fully revealed. You don't know what's in the box. But at the end of the game, Sora fucks off to look for Kairi, leaving Donald and Goofy behind. So with the next game, I have every confidence we are going to play as Sora without Donald and Goofy.
Okay.
Which will be interesting. It's not the first time. In Dream Drop Distance, he had what were called Dream Eaters. Weird things. They were basically chibi animals, I guess you'd say. But the end cutscene reveals that this guy is the apprentice, and he brings 4 of the other 5 apprentices. The fifth one, we don't know where she is. I assume she's going to help you and be the good guy.
They're not
in
going
the
to do
next
Kingdom
game.
Hearts Online, are they? And,
There is.
Is they?
Well, there was. There was a big online JRPG.
No, but like, are they going to redo like a Kingdom Hearts Online? And that's why you've left On and Goofy behind and try and focus on these apprentices, because they will do it. That they'll all go off, find more apprentices, and
No, they've already done that. These basically, in the prequel, there were 6 apprentices. There was the one who fucked off, so we ignore him. But the other 5 basically got other people, trained them to be Keyblade wielders, and had a massive Keyblade war, forging the Keyblade, or what I'm now going to refer to as the X-Blade. It's a Greek X, which is key. And that was the first Keyblade war. Then there's been a few others, and that's why all throughout the games you've been fighting Master Xehanort. He wants to recreate the Keyblade war, get the X-Blade, and make Kingdom Hearts, the thing, appear.
Right.
That's why you want to stop him. So these 4 have come back through time, I assume, because there's a whole time travel thing that no one quite understands still. And he... the guy who was sent away, I can't remember his name, at the end cutscene brings 4 of the 5 back. And he says, it's our time, and he's got the box.
Right.
And like I said, Sora's gone away to look for Kairi. That's the end cutscene. Now, there is the secret cutscene, which I've not unlocked, but I've seen it. I watched it on YouTube. I'm not an idiot. And this brings me back onto a little thing, and I want to gently touch on this. Earlier we spoke about Disney's live-action universe is big. It's huge. It's picking up steam. In Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'm going back to the PS2 version here, the Pirates of the Caribbean world was a damn sight more realistic than all the other worlds. Now, this game is a damn sight more realistic, full stop, but again, the Pirates of the Caribbean world is a damn sight more realistic. And in the final cutscene, you are in a goddamn realistic world that is akin to the cutscenes in Pirates of the Caribbean world. And you appear to be in what I can only describe as Japan. Real life Japan. And you see Sora lying on the ground in the rain. You also see Riku lying on the ground in the rain. And they both get up. So I think that this is going to take place more in their live action universe.
Right.
Which I'm not opposed to, with the Maker 4 coming out, which will probably be on the PS5, I'm going to be honest.
Well, yeah, because they're already releasing specs
for that, yeah.
For consoles now.
But the flip side of that is there was a game in the Toy Story world which was set in real world. I honestly thought it was an advert. I literally thought they'd done the scumbaggiest thing and put a legitimate advert for a game coming out in Kingdom Hearts. And I was pissed. I was pissed for like 5 minutes while this cutscene played, and I was like, oh, it is an advert, but the game's not real. It's an advert. Rex is watching the advert.
Yeah.
So it could be that Sora's in that world. That is another theory. My theory is he's in the real world. We are going to see these live-action Japan things. The story, yes, it ends the Dark Seeker. All these games up to this point have been called the Dark Seeker Saga, because they all revolve around Xehanort. The next set are going to be revolving around this box. I say there's probably going to be 2 or 3 games regarding the box, and then they'll move on to either something else or stop it. I vote stop. I get why they wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Overall, I wanted a slower progression. I wanted more worlds, slightly slower progression, less cutscenes. There were several cutscenes that I felt you could have played through.
Right.
Because you do play at one point as Riku, and you do play at one point as Aqua. I think there were more cutscenes where you could have played as Riku and Aqua. There was a cutscene where you could have played as Terra. There were various points where you could have been other characters, and right. I would have changed that. There's a bit where basically the 7 good guys get split up and they're fighting some of the 13 bad guys.
Okay.
And what I would have done is had you pick. So then the good guys are in 2s. The bad guys are in 3s, roughly. I would have let you play as one of the good guys out of the... Pick which one. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then play that, and then they go through and meet up with Sora. So you could have played as lots of different characters, giving it more replayability. I appreciated the fact that the backstory was Maleficent and Pete looking for the black box. I appreciate they brought it in the final cutscene. I appreciate how they're keeping it going, that we seem to move away from Donald and Goofy. I really like the secret hidden cutscene. Like I say, it needed a slow progression, more worlds, less cutscenes. Maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10. One thing for me that redeemed it. Now, there is a mobile game called Kingdom Hearts. 1 second, I do have it. I've played it for like 2 minutes. Kingdom Hearts Unchained King with the fancy X. There is a part in Kingdom Hearts 3 where you fight one of the big bads and you spam triangle to do a quite a powerful attack. And they are Keyblades from this Keyblade graveyard where the Keyblade War took. Now, Unchained X takes place before the Keyblade War. So you play as one of the people who had a Keyblade. And when you're using each of these Keyblades to hit someone, they are their in-game names that they've given from Union X. So they've pulled the player database names, and you just fire their Keyblades off for the bad guy, which looks really cool and is a cool nod to the mobile game. That slightly was redeeming. I don't like the... you saw the trailers where you could be on Disney rides. I don't like those. Okay. They feel slow and clunky and not nice. It needed... I like... The gameplay, I don't mind. The story, I don't mind. It was the flow.
Right.
Too many cutscenes broke it up.
Yeah.
Shorter cut. Definitely, if you were going to do it, I'd say shorter cutscenes. Do 5-10 minute cutscenes, then do some gameplay, then do another 5-10 minute. Not, here's an hour of cut. Because there are 2 or 3 points in the game where it is, here, have an hour of cutscenes.
I mean, that to me... smells very much like that
in a 28-hour game. So arguably, without those 3-hour bulks, it's about a 20-hour game.
Yeah,
and that's just cutting out chunks of cutscenes. That's not if you cut all of them out, and there are a lot. The one thing I did like, as opposed to previous games,
it's almost like they made a game and then there was like, actually, this is quite short.
Yeah.
We need to pad this shit.
Yeah, it is. And the padding could have been done by adding more worlds, but they chose not to do that. That's what I'd have done, added more worlds. The one thing I do like about each world
I'm guessing there's not really much of an option for too much DLC then to unlock.
There are areas in the gummy missions. In the gummy missions, they're different than each one. In the previous gummy missions, you had to fight things effectively. In this one, you don't. You can avoid 99% of the stuff. There are other places you can go called... I think they're called like treasure planets. They're not treasure planet, but they're like metal balls that have stuff in them. You could use those as... you could put mini worlds in those, I guess. Add more and put mini worlds in, but there's no point. You know, you played the main story. What's the point?
Yeah.
The redeeming feature on each of these worlds is each world is split into sort of 2 halves. You play sort of an hour and a half in the world, and then you fight a mini boss effectively. Then you play the next hour and a half and fight another boss. That's cool, but not right. This is probably my 3rd least favourite Kingdom Hearts game.
Okay.
My least favourite being Chain of Memories, which was the card-based one, if you've ever heard of that one.
No.
Yeah, it was a card-based one. And the other one being Birth by Sleep 0.2, a fragmentary passage. Then it's Kingdom Hearts 3, Dream Drop Distance, Birth by Sleep. No, Dream Drop Distance 1, Birth by Sleep 2. If you want my list. But yeah, 3, not great, I'm afraid.
Well, there's your couple of sentences.
Yeah, I still did it quicker than you bastard.
Only just 15 minutes.
15 minutes, but I could have cut it down. Game
well,
not fair, good, too many cutscenes. End cutscenes make me more hyped for 4, because for me, I think we're going into the Disney live-action universe.
Good. Right.
So yeah,
to be fair, there's not really any games to talk about that's coming out anyway. You've got DOA 6, Dead or Alive 6. If you like fighting games, I'm sure you'll like that. You've got RBI Baseball 19,
which is MLB Baseball with a new name and a reskin, basically.
Um,
It's not the same game, but it's basically the same game.
You've got Devil May Cry 5. I'm sure that'll be a good game as well. The DMC games generally are relatively good games.
I've never been a fan after 3, but that's me.
There are a couple of other games coming out around the same time as that. You've got The Occupation Left Alive, and also Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn on the 3DS.
Epic. A 3DS? I thought they were stopping 3DS. I didn't think many more 3DS games were coming out.
No. I'm not sure.
I honestly thought you were going to say Switch.
Not too sure about what The Occupation or Left Alive are about. I'm sure you can look at that yourselves. I know that's pretty shitty to say, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't. When I tried to click on the website, it won't give me any information.
It's being buggy at the minute, I think.
Other games that we've got with firm release dates.
There is Tom Clancy's The Division 2,
The Division
which
2.
I'm sure fans of The Division will like.
A game that I have heard a bit about is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. That's an action-adventure samurai game. It looks pretty beautiful, to be fair. Be interesting to see. Funny enough, you've also got MLB The Show coming out on PlayStation 4, so another baseball game there. Assassin's Creed 3's getting a remastered re-release,
which for me is my favourite because it balanced the run-around assassin-y of the first two and the boat of 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 4.
The PC release of Tropico 6 is out. Xbox and PS4 will be getting theirs, but later on in the year. And then that's it, basically. There's a few other games coming out, but nothing that I can really touch on because more games
next month.
That's next month, and games that I haven't really heard of or heard anything about coming out as well. But yeah, like I say, a slow month for gaming. But to be fair, we normally see more games coming out later in the year anyway.
Yeah.
Still early days for the year in terms of game release.
And I definitely I think part of the reason for the slower is a lot of people did think that Resi 2 being hyped, being a remake, being on the heels of Resi 1 remake, and Kingdom Hearts 3 being what people have basically been waiting 15, 17 years for, were going to dominate more than they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gaming, guys. We rambled for nearly for over half an hour about 2 games. So we're going to move on to the news.
Yeah, we're going to move into the news. First news story is going to be...
Ashtray.
Oh. Yeah, first story of the news is going to be, once again, from the Metro, obviously.
135.6 million shares. I don't think that's actually gone up a lot this month.
No, but to be fair, we are hitting what I would imagine is going to be peak for that. Because I think when they're going by shares, they're not on about... I don't think they're on about shares of each individual news story, but like shares of the Metro website.
By the person.
Right. Or potentially, if they're taking it as... If one news story gets shared, then they're taking it as the Metro has been shared.
Right, yeah. So when this one gets shared, that's one share. When the next news story gets shared, that's another. Whether 500 people or 5 million people
potentially.
share.
I mean, I don't know how their share system works. I don't really care, to be honest. But we're at 135.6 million shares. It's gone up dramatically. Go and watch the
first episode.
The first episodes.
We actually said in that first episode, and it's gone up.
It's gone up. And even if not, I'd imagine the Metro links from the description would still be active and valid.
I can probably figure that out while you talk about this story.
So yes, this is a naked man was saved after a fire at a brothel above a Chinese takeaway. I think it's hilarious because all I can imagine is his wife, if he's married, watching this going, Dave, is that you, Dave? You dirty fucking bastard. And getting really pissed off. And I just think it's hilarious because the guy was naked. I mean, I get there was a fire, but surely he had enough time to pull on a pair of skivvies.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
But apparently not. I'd imagine
the links are still alive.
But I'd imagine that it's going to say 135 million.
It doesn't say because
It's
I'm
the
on
mobile
the mobile
phone view.
Yeah,
But I'd imagine the news stories are current news stories, aren't they? Not the old ones.
probably.
So, probably can't find it out that way.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, even on the desktop site, it's not showing me right. See, I can't tell you. But if you honestly go back and.
I'm sure we weren't in the hundreds of millions of shares at this point. I think we was only at 80.
Oh, hold on. I might be able to see it. 53.3 million on the first episode.
So we've seen this climb by
nearly 100 million.
Yeah, we've done really well. Metro has done really well. But yeah, this guy obviously wasn't expecting the brothel to catch fire. But I
don't think you do you?
I just feel sorry for the fireman that had to help him down.
Wangling his tackle in
Because
his
he's
face.
basically got his dick in the guy's face and his hand on his arse. I mean,
if you shove your dick in my face, my hand will be on your arse, but it'll be going up the fucker of the face.
Police were shortly called to the scene after for the welfare of the man. I think also because brothels are illegal, so I'd imagine that it would have been to shut down the illegal brothel as well. I just think it's hilarious that he was naked.
I love how
and
it's
stood above the fucking.
I love that how it's above Simply Delicious Takeaway.
Yeah, I know. I like the fact that it was described as an adult health club. You know, I don't think there's much going on there that's good for your health. You know what I mean?
I mean, it depends what you're into. If you want to play doctor and nurses,
sticking on the naked, semi-naked theme with this one.
Yeah, passenger strips down to his boxers and removes his socks for duration of flight.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all seen those cringy ass videos
where they've got their horrible feet.
They've got the dirty feet fucking on the headrest of a seat. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? You're in a public place, put your feet down. You want to put your feet up, you do that shit at home in your hotel room. You don't do that shit next to someone on a flight.
Or you pay for your fucking first class, business class seat where you got the room to.
But this dude's like, no mate, they said make me feel at home. I'm going to fucking whip my trousers off and sit and have a fucking wank. I don't think he had a wank. I'm not saying he had a wank.
I hope he didn't.
But he might fucking well have done. I don't understand what would possess someone to strip off and sit there semi-naked during a flight. I mean, I'm not saying the guy... Oh, excuse me. I'm not saying the guy wasn't clean and didn't smell appropriately, but still, time and a place, dude.
Yeah.
Time and a place.
I would not have appreciated that. Did the people did he get kicked off, or do we know if he got kicked off?
But I mean, he got cold at some point, and he put on a jacket. Like, put your fucking trousers back on. Like, dirty. I mean, and I'm not prudish in any way, and I'm not saying that.
Oh, apparently he did get his pants back on at some point. His pants did return onto him at some point. 2 hours in, he stood up and took 4 mini bottles of wine from
the car. Then fell asleep. In 6 hours, he got cold, so he put on his jacket. Like, I just don't know. I don't get it. I don't know.
Oh dear, this is wrong.
I don't understand what was going through the guy's head, and more to the point, why the flight attendant was asked pre-flight to get the guy to put his trousers back on, and she just shrugged. So it's like surely there's a. I mean, obviously he's covered. I'm not saying he had his tackle out or anything, but yeah, time and a place.
Yeah, not on a plane.
But then again, if he was wearing shorts that were that length,
even so.
No, but
I wouldn't want to sit next to him, would you?
No, of course not. But still, I mean, it's wrong. I think if he was wearing sandals, because I don't think it's necessarily feet. I think it's when you see the base of someone's foot that's the point where you're like dirty feet, because the base of your foot can get quite dirty. You're walking through your house, you know. I'm not saying you have a dirty house, but you are going to pick up dust and stuff,
Yeah.
and it is going to make your foot look dirty, and that is potentially why it's the base of the foot. I mean, I know that in Thailand culture and stuff like that, the base of the foot,
the Asian culture,
is considered a rude thing to show. So maybe that's it. I mean, maybe if you had a pair of sandals on, it
wouldn't have been as bad.
Maybe as bad. I don't know. For me, I really don't know. But I think it's the feet more than the boxers.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of flights, you heard that one that shut down the other week, leaving passengers stranded all over at shop.
Oh yeah, Fly BMI.
Fly BMI, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite close to home because I literally live like a mile from the airport,
Yeah.
and the planes fly over my house. But no, they've gone into administration and shut down, and that's that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next story. Excuse me. A healer has been raiding cemeteries and stealing corpses' kneecaps for spiritual protection. A Filipino medicine man says he raids the cemeteries to steal kneecaps from dead bodies to give himself spiritual protection. I mean, he's a grave digger, basically, and he's a grave robber. I mean, I thought this sort of shit had grown out of human culture.
I thought it had, but apparently not. This guy, he does what he says.
They're not. The kneecaps are not talismans. He says they are. They need devotion and prayers. They protect your family and take you away from harm's way. Like gunshots, they could work as a shield or protection. No, because if you shoot some fucker in the knee, you know, their kneecap explodes.
Yes.
And they go down. So, no, they're not protection. It's desecration of a corpse. It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
On a humane and morality level, and it's archaic.
Yeah.
In the view that they can offer you some sort of protection. This is the same sort of thing that in some African cultures they kill and eat albino Africans.
Yeah.
Because they believe them to be magic and voodoo, or the idea that you can kill a lion and drink the blood of that lion and take the strength of that lion. It's very archaic in its view. And like I say, I thought this sort of stuff had mainly grown out of human culture, but
so
apparently
did I,
not.
but I guess not. Moving on.
Moving on.
This guy needs a slap. Just an FYI, guys. These first 4 stories are the top 4 trending stories on the Metro at time of reading. So, first class row after homeowner asked for post box to be moved because he widened his gates.
He's had some lovely brickwork and
Double wide gates.
Wrought iron gates put in. But instead of having the one gate where he used to have, he's now widened that to a double wide gate. And now he's in a row with the mail because he wants the post box that's now in front of the gate moved. No, because for a start off, before you widen the gate, it would have been an option to contact to see if they would move the box before putting the gate in. But no, what he's done instead is he's going to put all this money into it and had all this done, and it's a 100-year-old post box. It's not a new post box. It's one of the original post boxes to have been put in.
When they redesign them, it's one of the it'll be one of the first new ones.
And therefore, no. Not only that, by the looks of it, the block paving work that he's had put done in has been done, been put around the box.
Yeah.
So, even more so, no, because you've completed work around it, which means that you've decided that you would happily keep it there. So, tough shit.
Yeah.
In my view.
This guy is an idiot for doing it in the first place. He must have known the post box was there. He must have done.
Yeah, of course he did, because it's been there forever.
And then he's had this work done, and he wants it.
This is another classic case of I'm entitled.
Yeah.
and unfortunately, you're not, sir.
No, you're not. You're a twat. So, lump it.
For me, I would not cave in on this issue.
If I was Royal Mail, I wouldn't move it either. If he'd have asked me before he'd have done it, I would have done.
I would have considered it, yeah.
But now that he's just gone and done it, I'd be like, no, actually, sir, because you've interfered with our mailbox, we're going to press charges and you'll probably have to shorten your gate again at your own cost.
Yeah.
So, fuck you, knobhead. Last one.
This is this isn't a funny story. This is actually an interesting one. A 14-year-old boy, that's right, 14, created a nuclear reactor in his bedroom. He is like one of the youngest people to actually achieve nuclear fission. Fusion, sorry, not fission. Nuclear fusion. In fact, he actually did it at 13. According to this, later on, it must have been that he presented it at the age of 14. Yeah. He's now regarded by experts as the youngest in the US to be able to do it, and maybe the youngest in the world to achieve what he's done. And this, for me, is one of these stories that just shows you that the next generation are smarter than us.
Yeah.
I know that it looks like they're not, but there are a lot of them out there that are smarter than us, and that's the way it's supposed to work. We are supposed to hand over what we know to the next generation, and they are supposed to take that from a young age, and expand on it.
Definitely. No, this guy's very clever. He's done it, and he's done well.
He spent around $10,000 on parts, which is a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. If my 13, 14-year-old child came to me and went, Dad, I need 10 grand to build a nuclear reactor, I go, fuck off. I ain't got 10 grand to spend on anything, mate. But, you know...
If you had to spare 10 grand, first thing you'd do is buy a new car.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, you know, his parents may have more money than the average parent.
I mean, they must to be able to afford this kind of McGuff.
But then again, it depends on how long he's actually took him to build it.
Yeah, if he's been working on it for 2-3 years,
you know,
I mean, you break that down. $3,000 a year isn't horrible.
No.
If he's built it over 3 years,
not at all. But no, I think it's an amazing story that a 14-year-old lad has managed to create a fully working nuclear reactor to the point that he's created electricity.
Yeah.
It means that. In fact, 12 months.
It took him a year to build it.
A year. So 10 grand in a year is quite a steep amount of money.
But fair play to his parents for doing it.
But to be fair, this has probably just earned him scholarships to college, university. So that's they're no longer going to need to pay that.
About 10 grand a year in America anyway for uni.
Yeah. So
if he's just
his parents have just basically got him free university.
Well, they've got him uni say a 3-year course. So they paid 1 year for a 3-year course.
No, because the scholarship normally is paid all the way through.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they've given him 10 grand for this, so they've paid for 1 year.
Yeah.
But what's he? By the time in 4 years, and clearly it wasn't a big deal to them now. So in 4 years, they're not even going to notice the 10 grand. So no, really well done, lads. This is one of those stories that is definitely.
And my guess is that he'll probably end up with a scholarship, but that scholarship will be tied in with a job with a massive energy company.
Yeah.
That are going to be wanting him to design and build massive scale versions of his own work or similar works, and upgrading and whatever else. And we could, for all we know, this young lad. In fact, we've not actually said his name, which is a bit disrespectful. Where is it? Jackson Oswalt.
Jackson, well done.
From Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, in 20 years we could be talking about Jackson the same way we do about Elon Musk.
Yeah, or Bill Gates,
or Albert Einstein,
Steve Jobs. I mean,
Stephen Hawking. He could be. He to me is probably one of the next ones.
Yeah. I have just added a quick...
Oh, for the love of Christ, here we go!
I have just added another one, just to end on a little bit more of a high note. A beautician may have to rename her nail bar because it's called Hand Jobs. Now, these stories are pissing me off.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, for a start off, when you go to have your nails done and a pedicure, you get a hand job. They moisturise your hands, they treat your nails, they cut your cuticles. They look after your hand. You're having a job done on your hand. Yes, it's a relatively dirty play on words.
It's a double entendre.
But why the fuck not? Hairdressers have been doing this shit for years. So why not? I'm getting sick to death.
Cut above the rest and all that.
I mean, I've seen this now, this same sort of story a couple of times.
Yeah.
Recently, and I really, 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 really want Elon Musk to hurry up and finish his space project so we can fuck off to another planet.
Well, what's he said now? 2025 he's looking to be on Mars with people.
Yeah. I'm telling you now, mate, the first flight off this planet I'm taking.
Because I think 2020 is when they want to do the first manned orbit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then 2025 he hopes to have people on it.
There. I mean, I
could be wrong. If I'm wrong, feel free to
like I say,
send me a site.
I'm done with the way of thinking of the community.
With the entitled prissy fox.
Yeah, I'm sick to death of it. No kid is going to walk past that and go hand jobs.
They will, but
no, teenagers will.
13 to 16 age.
Yeah, but before that, no kid's going to understand it anyway. At the end, I don't think I don't see the problem in it. I really don't. The problem is this is happening in Perkins Township, Ohio. It's probably a Christian state. It's probably.
I think it is a Bible Belt one. Yeah.
I think this is the problem where religion has seemingly a little bit too much in the way of control over the way shit works.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to evolve.
Yeah.
Our way of thinking. And that's where we're going to end it. We've been rambling on for well over an hour again. It's been a good story day today, I think.
It has. You've had your reviews, you've had your news, you've had your upcomings, you've had our thoughts, our feelings. And also, guys, there is one thing, and I will say, thank you to our SoundCloud listeners.
Definitely.
You guys have, not to detract as much from YouTube, but you SoundCloud guys have been, you've been listening, you've been liking, you've been sharing, you're
active.
Yeah.
That's what we like. We like to see active people. I'd like to see some feedback. That's what I'd like. I'd like to hear what you think.
Yeah, ask us some questions.
I mean, if you thought we're terrible, horrible, tell me.
Yeah.
I want to know. Do you know why? Because I don't care.
Yeah.
I want to know what you think. If you think we ramble too much, fine. You're probably not going to we're not going to be able to stop it, unfortunately. No. It's just the way
we have tried in the past.
We are this way.
But if you want to ask us our opinions on anything, where you could ask us, I don't know. Let me pull something out of my arse right now. What do we think of the upcoming Tetris 99?
Yeah.
If you want to, I mean, I've seen the trailer. Have you?
No.
It's basically going to be Battle Royale with Tetris.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So, but do you want our opinion on that? Do you want to know what we think about Disney, the old Disney movies where they did blackface?
Yeah.
Do you want us to comment on that? Ask us, and we'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, we have spoken in the past about potentially looking at other podcast platforms we can look at.
Yeah.
Potentially doing a different podcast. Maybe you've got some ideas for us that we can look into. You know,
something where we could maybe do one topic for sort of 20 minutes and that half an hour, and then call it a day.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'd love to hear some feedback from you all. I think
it doesn't have to be gaming, movie, or news. I mean, that's what we know the most. But if you guys said, actually, I'd be really interested in you commenting on some true crime story.
I mean, that was one of my ideas potentially for a future podcast. Anyway, look at that sort of stuff. We are very eclectic in what we will be willing to talk about. We're not scared to talk about any subject really.
No.
We do try and steer clear of politics because we get angry. And also because there's enough of that shit going on in the media that we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love
But,
to
yeah,
hear some feedback. If
yeah.
you can, drop us feedback at any point.
Even do you want to hear us talk about ghost stories?
Yeah.
Let us know what you want us to talk about, guys. And next month we might actually say this at the start if we remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks
lovely.
for listening,
Thanks
guys.
for listening.
And bye.
Bye.